This is a free podcast from the BBC. For more information, you can go to our website, bbc.co.uk/Radio 2.
Jonathan Ross, Radio 2.
Had a lovely weekend. Last weekend, went off.
Valentine's, I
Saturday
suppose.
night, it was Valentine's, and we found ourselves down in Brighton because my daughter's hoping to go to Sussex University. She's got her name down a couple of places. She's got offers from a couple of places. She's working so hard. I'm so proud of her.
Yeah.
She's working 10 times harder at A-levels than I've ever worked at anything in my entire life.
Right.
I'm quite happy to say that.
Yeah.
I've kind of hinted that to her. When Jane goes, you better do some more work, I'm going, I never worked this hard in my life, and I turned out okay. You know, I sort of let... But you can't say that too loud.
No.
In front of your wife.
No, of course not.
Cracking the whip. She's become
she?
a monster. So no,
Well, you've got to get the grades, haven't you? Know it's tough to get in.
It's like, you need at least like 2 A's and a B to get in somewhere good.
I got in with a D and an E. The old days.
I don't even think I managed that.
You just walked in.
and you got a grant. You didn't have to work. It was great.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, we're down in Brighton. We had a lovely time and wandered around. And hello to all the people. Lots of people said hello. It's nice to say hello to people all the time out there. It was lovely.
Did you have any fish and chips?
I had fish and chips.
Of course.
Went down the pier.
Yeah.
You can't beat the pier. Went down the pier. And then halfway down Brighton Pier, there's a kind of place that looks like quite a posh fish and chip restaurant. And I said, and you expect when you go in, you expect you're going to hear classical music. Hello, sir, table for two. Yeah. You walk in, there's a stand-up part where they're just eating the takeaway. But then you go in, there's a sit-down part.
And there's a karaoke bar on the pier as well.
Right,
Go in there.
we gave that a swerve.
The captain's bar.
We went on the
School.
Crazy Mouse at the end. That's always a mistake after fish and chips, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that night we went out to a spectacular restaurant. We went to an Old Orleans. We went to a restaurant which is called Genghis Khan down there.
All right.
One of those ones that where you just go and select loads of different sort of foods, take it to a couple of blokes, and they cook it up. They sort of wok it up. They cook it up on a hot plate right in front of you, and you can just eat it.
Right.
All you can eat.
Oh, here we go.
Which, as you know, I don't take so much as a guide as I do a challenge.
Yes.
Okay. So, and every bowl you have is like a whole meal.
So was it meats they cook up and things?
Anything you want.
Fish?
There's fish, there's mussels, there's cod, there's all kind of, there's chicken, there's beef, there's all this kind of stuff.
And I presume they're dressed up, these blokes. You just said a couple
these
of blokes.
blokes are wearing old T-shirts, they're sweating heavily. No need for any fat or butter, the sweat cooks it.
Oh.
They're dripping all over it. It's marvellous. It's very raw. I felt like I was a Mongol out there with Genghis and the steppes. So I go, and after I've had about 4 or 5, Jane's sitting there, she's going, I'm just going to go back for another. She said, you having another one? I said, yes, of course I'm having another one. No need to use that tone of voice. She said, well, how many have you had? I said, does it matter how many? It's all you can eat. What? Who's keeping count? She said, well, I am. So I had about 8 or 9.
What?
Well, that's not, I don't think that's that many.
Of the same, or did you try different selections?
No, I mixed it match.
Did you?
Oh, yeah, I was trying.
What, a bit of meat and a bit of fish?
One I went back, it was just different meats.
Was it?
Oh, I took a little bit of a chicken, pork, lamb, beef, and something else that looked a bit like a meat.
But nothing else?
That was it.
Do you have any vegetables or anything with it?
I did in another meal, but I was just doing a meat experiment there.
Right.
Like the Mongols.
Is that what, does it say that?
I'm
Eat like the
imagining-
Mongols?
Well, they had a picture of Genghis Khan looking down on me. I didn't want to let him down. It's a lot to live up to, the Khan.
Yeah.
But then I asked, and this is what I'd like to see, because there were I don't want to say where they were sitting, but there were a couple of fatties quite near us. And Jane said, look, over there. I said, what? She went, that's what you're doing to yourself. I said, I don't mind at all. Why should I mind that? You wouldn't mind? Well, I don't think I would. So I was going to go back for a 10th, and I thought, well, I better not. So I called the waitress over, because I wanted to save some space for dessert, because they did... they did a lovely dessert platter at Genghis Khan's.
Well, hold on, what does Genghis Khan have for his dessert?
You don't...
Was it like...
Profiteroles, mainly.
Yeah, of course he did.
He loved fresh cream.
No, did he?
Yeah. I think it was yak's cream they had back then. I don't know what he had. Look, it wasn't legitimately his menu.
No,
it's just
of course
the name
not.
of the restaurant.
But didn't he? He was an horrible man. Why call a restaurant Genghis
Well, you
Khan?
say he was a horrible man. How do you know?
Didn't he kill a lot of
Only what you
people?
read in the papers. Right. So
you called the waitress over,
and so I'm ordering my dessert.
and can you have? Is it all you can eat dessert, or there's
No.
there's a stopping point there?
Don't be silly.
I don't know. It seems to me you can just keep on going.
That'd be obscene. No, you could though conceivably have dessert and then go back for more main courses.
No,
You could if you wanted.
Yeah,
to
but
use
that
it as
would
a little-
really be.
as a little palate cleanser. So anyway, I called her over and I said, I'm going to have some dessert.
Yeah.
I said, but before we order dessert, could you settle a small disagreement that's brewing here? Well, what's the record for the number of meals someone's had here, number of bowls they've taken?
They didn't point to the people over on the other table.
No, they didn't point out to the fatties. They left by then as well. They probably had much less than I did, to be honest with you. It probably was glandular. So she said, 27.
No.
I said, 27? She said, 27. 27. So armed with that knowledge, I then ordered the dessert platter for 4.
And you ate all 4?
Very nearly finished it.
What's on that, then?
I did then spend the next 36 hours almost constantly pooing. I put a lot in, I had to get a lot out again.
Radio 2.
Kyle MacLachlan's here, ladies and gentlemen. I couldn't be happier. Kyle, how lovely to see you again.
Thanks, Jonathan. Really nice to be with you.
Is it just MacLachlan or MacLachlan? How do you like
It's
to...
however you want to say it.
Do you ever do the full Scottish MacLachlan?
MacLachlan, yeah.
Sounds like a whiskey, doesn't it?
It does. Yes.
Like a pint of MacLachlan. How long are you over for? You just over? Is it a whirlwind visit, or you get time to enjoy the country?
Whirlwind. I'm over here talking about the Twin Peaks, the new DVD sets.
Well, I couldn't be happier that it's finally out. Second season is out on DVD because I am an obsessive Twin Peaks fan, as I think you know.
Yes, I've heard.
What a great show! Did you get into Twin Peaks?
Yeah.
Oh, that was one hell of a program. But it must have been when you first got offered the part, when the script first came to you, because it was surprising and so different to everyone else. It must have seemed like something of a risk.
Oh, it was completely different, and we had no expectations it would ever go to series. But the Lynch is just so brilliant at creating different characters, particularly the one I played, Dale Cooper, in that. I don't think I've had anything since then that's been as compelling.
Because he kind of wanted, it was sort of I think Peyton Place was in his mind when he was creating it, the kind of turmoil and what goes on beneath the surface in suburbia, very similar to Blue Velvet, which you worked on with him as well, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. This was sort of the follow-up to Blue Velvet for David and I, and it definitely has that undertone and undercurrents of darkness and disturbing areas.
Now, I've forgiven you. You'll be pleased to know.
No, quite very nice. Thank you.
For starring in Dune, because that was a part that should have been mine.
Say,
Because
what did I do?
I read that when I was a kid, and I loved that book, and I thought I could be Paul.
I loved that book too, and you could have been Paul.
Well, I couldn't really.
You could have been Paul's
Okay.
brother, maybe.
I could have been Paul's sort of out of shape brother. Yeah, less fortunate, challenged in some way.
In some way, yeah, just to make it interesting.
I stayed on the spice ship, and you were out there having the fun. But what a remarkable story that is, because you were virtually unknown, certainly in terms of the world of cinema.
That was my first film. That was it. I met David in Los Angeles, got hired, and bang, there I was, went from Seattle straight down to Mexico City.
And they filmed it all. Is it Chiaroscuro Studios? Is that what it's called? Or
It
something
was
like that?
Studios Churubusco. Yeah, very
Churubusco.
good. Very good.
I knew it was something like that. Churubusco Studio, which I've actually visited.
Have you? Yeah.
Because they used to make all the wrestling movies there in the 60s.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Are you a big wrestling fan?
No, really, no. But I like wrestling movies. Well, in the movies, they play like superheroes.
Yes, I know. It's
El
fantastic.
Santo, El Hijo del Santo,
yeah.
Le Blue Demon.
You know all about these. I bet I saw your costume was hanging up at the back of the car over there.
Man, I wish my wrestling days would be over. You ever wrestled?
Never wrestled. Well, when I was in high school, yeah.
Really?
Didn't like it much.
Did you really wrestle?
No.
Because they wind up with puffy ears and torn cartilages. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
no, it's not good for you.
sport out there.
Very, it's not good for you at all.
But you obviously were a sporty youngster.
I was a bit sporty, yeah. Well, golf. Can you call that a sport?
No.
I don't know. Not really.
That's
Okay.
not really a sport.
So I was sort of semi-sporty. When I was very
golf
little.
is basically a walk with a stick in your hand. You know it.
All right, good. It's a
grassy
different
walk.
kind of sport.
But I assumed you were like basketball or those kind of American things.
Yeah, and football until I wasn't big enough. I mean, you get to high school and then the separation occurs, and I was
They're
like,
huge.
I'm better for golf
Yeah.
and baseball. I played a bit of baseball actually.
And I imagine once you play golf, you stay with it the rest of your life. I guess you play now, do you?
Yeah, you become obsessive and compulsive and absolutely hate the game, and then you love it.
What kind of a handicap do you play off of? I believe is
Off
the
of
phrase.
that's the proper phrase. Around a 10.
Okay, I've no idea what that means, but I'm glad that
That's
we
pretty good.
sounded
It's all right.
10 over the par.
10
Yeah.
over. So
Yeah.
par is the average for the course, yeah.
Par's the average. Yeah.
So it's like par 3 would mean you should get that in 3 if you're a good player.
if you're a very good player, yeah.
So you're 10 over the par, which means that you.
Very average.
So you wouldn't manage the par.
No, I wouldn't. I could par a few holes, but a few would get away from me.
Because when I've played pitch and putt and stuff, which is similar, I normally do. Crazy golf, I almost always get it in the recommended 2 or 3.
No, well, that's good then. You have a good chance. You should.
Do you play the crazy golf?
Once in a while. My regular game is considered crazy by many of my friends.
Do you not think that in the world of professional golf that it couldn't be livened up by, for example, a giant windmill on the final hole?
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I think so. I'd like to see Tiger Woods struggle through that.
That would be level the playing field.
Let's face it, he's obviously looking for something else to occupy himself.
Well,
Golf's too easy for him.
maybe not a windmill, but yeah,
Keep him out of trouble.
Yeah,
So Twin Peaks, June, let's go back to that, because here you find yourself in Mexico,
Yeah.
filming this incredible, huge budget film with a tough-as-nails producer in the form of Rafaela de Laurentiis, the daughter of the great Dino de Laurentiis, who didn't see eye to eye with Lynch on many things, I believe, certainly in terms of his approach and what she wanted it to be.
Yeah, no, it's different, but I loved Rafaela. They were very nice. I mean, it was really a family atmosphere there. You know, they would have us over for dinner at night at the house, and it was sort of the last, I think, of that kind of experience.
Yeah, well, they're still out there making movies. I believe.
They still make movies.
Is Dino still with us? Do you know?
Dino is still with us.
I think he is still alive. That's incredible. He
was old then.
He must be about 112
about
now.
112, I think, and he's still producing.
But what an incredible legacy they've made. And it is a film, I think. I don't know, do you ever go back and watch
Yeah,
your
I've watched
films?
it again. Yeah, that one actually stands up. I mean, at the time, of course, as you said, it was
It got
crucified.
really crucified.
Yeah,
because people expected it or wanted it to be. It was sort of marketed as this is going to be Star Wars, as big as Star Wars, but for grown-ups.
Yeah, and it just didn't have the same kind of impact at all. But that said, you look at it today, and it's got some extraordinary scenes in it, I think, and just really powerful performances. A lot of English actors were in that as well.
Yeah,
Francesca Annis and Sean Phillips.
Francesca Annis is fabulous in it, and also you've got some great young actors who went on. Is it the woman who plays your sister in that, the young sister?
Yes.
Is that Kirsten Dunst?
No.
Who is that?
Right out of my head.
We'll have a look. We'll have a look in a minute. We'll Google it when we have the record on, because she went on to other parts as well, I know, and she was terrific in it.
Yeah.
And some fantastic American actors in as well. Jack Nance, of course, who was in Eraserhead, who sat in along with us. But is it Paul Bartel? Who plays the evil guy who floats around in the air?
It was Kenny McMillan. Brad Dourif was also
Brad
in there.
Dourif is
Remember him
fabulous.
from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
And he was in Exorcist 3, of course.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And also in Deadwood.
But who was the fat guy who floats up in the air?
Kenny McMillan.
Kenny McMillan.
He's no longer with us.
Stop saying that.
You keep asking.
Well, we don't need an update on everyone.
I'm still here.
Francesca Annis is still here. That's all right.
That's
good.
That's
Okay.
right. That's good. And Patrick Stewart, of course.
Well, 3 out of 50 ain't bad then. That's supposed to be.
I think.
Let's put some music on. When we come back, we'll talk to Kyle about Sex on the City, about Twin Peaks, about Desperate Housewives, about so much more.
You're listening to the Jonathan Ross Podcast from BBC Radio 2.
We've got Kyle MacLachlan with us here right now, ladies and gentlemen. He was the star of Twin Peaks, among many other fine movies and television productions. Twin Peaks, the second season, is finally out in the definitive gold box edition DVD set. Looks beautiful. I can't wait. That was a longer run than the first series, am I right?
Yeah, the second season we went to 23 episodes. The first was only 7, and now they've put everything together in this gold box edition. The definitive Twin Peaks set's available 22nd of March, I think.
You know, this is one of those rare things, though. This is a show which I think kind of doesn't get old because it was so peculiar.
Yeah. It stands alone.
Yeah, I watched it with my kids recently, and they were. You don't. You know what? But
I get
Kyle
old,
doesn't look.
but not the character.
You don't look that bad.
Bless your heart.
No, you
don't
don't.
do, because we've known each other for a long time. We go
Too
back.
long. But I'm looking at you now. I can't see any work that's been done. So
Really?
whoever's doing it
They're
is
doing
excellent.
Very good.
Yeah.
I'm saying the same about you. But anyway.
Clearly, I haven't had any work done. Clearly, if I did, we'd have to sue them. But this must be a fun thing to talk about, because obviously it was a remarkable achievement. I know some people come and they have to talk about stuff from 20 years ago, and they'd rather move on. But
really
this must be something which,
you
can't. I don't think you really could have done it much better, could you?
No. This, I mean, as we did it, it's a fantastic piece of work, and that opening episode, that pilot episode, is one of my favorites. Probably the best stuff I've ever done. So
when you were shooting it, did Lynch clearly know? Did he explain to you where it was going? Did he tell you about the weird twists and turns, or was it a journey for you?
We were
as well?
just happy to be in the middle of this crazy town, this journey, and then to discover these strange, unusual people. And I think we would have been quite happy just to leave it at that and not even solve the mystery.
Much of it, I guess, was shot in LA on sound
Yeah,
stages.
we started in the Seattle area. We shot the pilot up there, and then we went
If I'm
down.
correct, you went to a place called Snoqualmie Falls.
Snoqualmie Falls, yeah.
which I've been to, which is one of the most beautiful places on the Pacific Northwest.
It is lovely.
If you get a sunny day.
Yeah, so 2 days out of the year.
Yeah,
It's
because
perfect. It's a bit like London, isn't it? No.
Don't be fooled. If you go to Seattle and you get a sunny day, you will think, this is the most beautiful place on earth. I'm going to move here.
Yeah.
Don't be fooled.
It rains.
They have 3 or 4 of those days a year, don't
Yeah,
they?
and you just happen to catch one. So.
But it is an incredible place. And then mainly in LA. And at the time, all the elements seem to come together so perfectly. I mean, that's what's remarkable about it as a series. Because the music, which was Angelo Badalamenti.
Yes, perfect, yeah.
Incredible theme. I mean, really.
Yeah,
had you been played that before? Did that all come together afterwards?
No, when you heard it with the pictures, you were like, this really fits so beautifully. He did an extraordinary job. And David works with him now. I mean, he does everything with him.
Brilliant composer. And, of course, you got to work with, on the second series, not just other notable American actors like David Duchovny, of course. Sherilyn Fenn was back, I believe. But Lynch himself appeared on screen. Now, he's not, let's be honest, he's not a gifted actor.
Not gifted. No, but he has a certain quality that's very, very good. I would direct him in a certain way. Actually, I did direct him a couple of times.
Well, he's in Dune as well, isn't he?
Yeah, yes.
And that's a terrible wooden performance. He's got one line on the screen, and even that manages to bring the film to a halt.
Screeching. I hope he's not in London listening to this. I'll never work again.
It's okay. He'll meditate for 4 days. He'll get over
It'll
it.
be fine. It'll be perfect.
Has he lured you into the transcendental meditation?
We've talked about it. He hasn't quite convinced me yet.
But he
We've
does
talked
it
about
big time, doesn't he?
Twice a day.
Yeah.
Religiously. It's been since I've known him. So that was in '83 and before that.
But it does. I tried it for a brief period, meditation, and it really helped.
It's quite good for you. Oh yeah. It clears your mind. Everything is very. So that's
Do you know who's a big advocate of the meditation? Clint Eastwood.
Is he really?
Nowhere to go with that. No. But it's a nice fact to put out there for everyone. That was like one of those David Lynch acting moments right there.
That was very good.
And you know what? The other thing I can't wait, the Sex and the City experience for you must have been fun because I'm a huge fan. And when you came into it, but what a character to play. Not necessarily the one you want to most be associated with.
No. Very
a weak,
well
impotent rich man.
Very well put. No, they came to me when they said, we'd like you to be in Sex and the City. I was like, I'm very excited. I would love to. In fact, he said, I was sort of thinking to myself, he's an Upper East Side guy. He's like John Kennedy. He's a football player. And I said, well, no, he's actually, he's a doctor. He's a heart surgeon, and he's erectorally challenged. Thank you so much.
Are you in the movies or not? Because she moved on, didn't she?
She moved on. Yep. Happened too soon.
Her loss.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Yeah. Twin Peaks, the definitive gold box edition, is out now. Great to see you again, Kyle.
John, I'm happy to be here.
Radio 2.
Hey, guess what? Mr. John Ratzenberger has joined us. No sooner
morning.
has the seat been
Afternoon.
vacated by Kyle, John's coming to keep you warm.
That's right. Yeah, I follow Kyle all over the world.
Was there any warmth left in the seat? Though there probably was a little, wasn't there?
Well, I have thick pants on, so I can't really. give me a few minutes.
let it warm up and get through you. John's over because, of course, Up has been released on DVD, and that was one of my favourite movies, without doubt, possibly my all-time favourite of last year. I mean, it was one of the best movies. What an incredible piece of work.
Really, I mean, that first 10 minutes, I always say they give you the secret of life. If you're wondering why you're here on Earth, that first 10 minutes of that film will tell you.
It's balloons is the answer.
Helium.
It's incredible. It really is a very powerful start to a film.
And there's no dialogue either in that first 10 minutes, and everybody in the theater is crying.
But you've worked with Pixar for quite a while. This is not your first experience.
15 years now.
Whoa! Have you been involved in all their feature films? Or
Every single one.
And what about the shorts that Mr. Lasseter did before that? Were you involved in those?
No, I didn't know John before that. They called me at Toy Story 1 to do the voice of Hammy the Pig.
Hammy the Pig, yeah.
And I've been with them ever since. I thought it was a clerical error for a few years, but they assured me that it's not.
You're just on the list of like people, it's the first button they press on the phone, your name comes up.
I think so, yeah. Somebody hits it. No, I've got a Polaroid of Steve Jobs at a New Year's Eve party.
Does Mr. Jobs still own Pixar, or has he
Yes.
moved on? I didn't know, because I thought Disney had bought it back from him. So he's still involved. Wow, so you're sorted out for Apple products from now on, aren't you?
Yes, that's why I use a Mac, yeah.
I bet you've got an iPad already. I bet you're ahead of the pack.
My car's made by Mac. I got the only one.
Well, don't try and get it to sync with anything using Windows, okay? Or you'll be in big trouble. So the Pixar experience must be a wonderful one for an actor to be involved in, because obviously they know their stuff. I mean, I think they make along with Studio Ghibli in Japan, they make the finest animated movies in the world today. They really are. They lead the way.
They're old school. They just work very hard at it. They found their passion, and they work harder at it than anyone that I know in Hollywood. But it's what I imagine Hollywood used to be, the golden age of Hollywood, where they don't bother with focus groups. They just do it right from the heart, and they work the hearts out at it. And they consider every project they do as though it were their first. They never rest on their laurels.
That was the problem for years with Disney, I felt, is where they kind of got in the treadmill of, we need a new animated feature each year.
Right.
And so, and that's why we wound up with stuff like, for example, The Black Cauldron, which isn't necessarily a bad movie, but, if they'd have had another year to work at it, it probably would have been a great movie.
Well, when they did Treasure Planet, to me, that was like, okay, that's the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we need a story. Well, what about Treasure Island? Hey, I know, Treasure Planet.
But once again, with the right approach and with the right, if they'd have put likeable characters in there and really worked at it, that could have been fine. I mean,
if you work at a story.
Yeah.
Well, Pixar will work at a story for 3 or 4 years.
That's what they really go at it from every angle, don't they?
And then when they get it perfect, they tear it apart right to the foundations, and they rebuild it, and then they call us.
But it really is a wonderful thing, the end result, and it works. I'm so excited about Toy Story 3. I can't wait. But part of me is thinking,
coming out in June, yeah.
Can they pull it off again?
Yes.
That's the worry. Have you seen it?
Yes. Yes. They've done it. Trust me.
Andy,
you could put some money
really
down.
excited.
Listen,
He does.
Andy, not this Andy here, Andy in the film is going off to college. Now, you remember in Toy Story 2, Jessie, her storyline was that she didn't play with the toys anymore. Was it Jessie or was Jessie the name of the cowgirl?
Cowgirl.
Cowgirl. So the girl who owned Jessie,
Correct.
whatever, her name wasn't correct, but it was something like that.
No, they did. They called her correct.
Correct.
Yeah,
that was her
correct.
birth name, and they gave her a nickname after.
Yeah.
It's a Mexican name. She had stopped playing with Jessie. And that song, that Randy Newman song, even now I listen to it, I well up. It was one of the most powerful and emotional punches in the movie. I'm imagining there will be similar moments like that in Toy Story 3.
Yes.
Well, don't just keep saying yes.
Well, I'm not going to give it away.
No, you can't give it away, can he?
Come on,
I've got
Ham, give us a bit of the bacon. Come on.
I've got CIA clearance here.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give away the storyline. for God's
It's
sake.
the big dramatic ending is when he comes out, I believe, after college. He spells,
Yeah, that's it.
which would be a lovely ending.
Yeah. Actually, I was in college for 2 years, and my father once said, he said, what are the books for? I said, what? I'm in university. He said, "No, how's that working out? Because I paid my own way through. I was a carpenter. And they didn't even know I was in college.
Unbelievable. Well, they must have been proud of you at the end, I guess.
Yeah, I said, so how's that working out for you? So I graduated with a degree in English literature, then went back to being a carpenter.
But there's always a need for woodwork.
Oh, I read much better books.
You're listening to the Jonathan Ross Podcast from BBC Radio 2.
John Ratzenberger's with us,
Hello.
of course. We've been talking a little bit about the cartoons he's involved with. He's supplied the voice for all, a voice at least, in all of the Pixar animated movies, the feature-length ones, which, of course, all the Toy Story films we're talking about here. We're talking about Up more recently.
Cars.
Right? Cars.
Cars, yeah.
Played
Cars.
back-
I didn't like Cars so much, to be honest, but it was nice. I thought it was for the littler kids, but it was lovely. I know people,
my
young
son loves
kids,
it.
adore
Oh,
it.
he loves
Yeah.
it.
See, isn't it interesting? My kids are a little bit older for that. Then they loved it, but it's not one they go back to again and again. Whereas stuff like Toy Story and, of course, Up, they could keep watching. You know. It's
Yeah, what about Bug's Life? What does that fall into?
I like Bug's Life a lot. Once again, I wouldn't put it out there with Toy Story, but it's pretty
right.
close.
Yeah, that's the favorite character of mine that I've done all the
Now, which
15
one were
years.
you in Bug's Life?
P.T. Fleet. The
That's right.
ringmaster of the Fleet Circus.
It's got some lovely... It looks... It just sort of pops off the screen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, they use that when they're trying to sell HD TVs to people, I think. You'll see that on display in stores. Whenever you go in, they're watching... There's a Pixar movie showing
Yeah,
somewhere.
and then when they were doing that, just before they did it, they went out into the park, into the fields with magnifying glasses on their hands and knees and laid in their stomachs and drew.
And
What-
killed insects.
Yeah, basically. And you have a problem with that? Well, I don't understand.
No insects were killed in the making of Bug's Life. We should clear that up, should we, John? Yeah, but the study, the level of kind of involvement and the work they put in...
It's
it
the
shows-
dedication. They don't take it lightly. This is very serious work for them. But the passion, it comes through. If you ever get to visit Pixar, you go up there to Emeryville, you'll see it's incredible. I've never seen anything like it. I've been in Hollywood now for a while.
Do you know what they're planning after? Because of course, Up is out now and it's available on DVD. And I urge you, if you got whether you've got kids in the house or not, because it's a movie which works as well, if not better, for adults.
Yes,
I think.
exactly. Yeah, especially the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think in a way it works better for adults. It's a powerful, wonderful, moving, magical film. But you've got Toy Story 3 coming out this year, which
Right.
it's going to be huge, and I'm hoping it will match the other two, even though that seems almost impossible. What's the next project from Pixar? Do you know?
Can I see your security clearance?
Here we
I
go.
don't know. I can't tell you.
You don't know, or you do know?
No,
and
I
you
do
can't
know.
tell?
I can't tell
You
you.
do know.
Well, what happens is that the competitors, if there are any out there still, they'll cobble something together to try, and they...
Like Ants, when Bug's Life was coming out, these guys watched that film called Ants. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was horrible.
Well, it was horrible.
Yes, it was. Come on.
Okay, let's talk about Cheers a little bit.
Hey, I was on that show.
There you were.
Yeah, I was the postman.
Those were your drinking years.
That's right. Yeah, I got paid to sit at a bar and crack jokes for 11 years.
That's pretty good.
Almost as good as your job.
But it's kind of the truth, though, that you were just sitting... any job where you're
that's the
sitting down
truth.
is a great job, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, especially after you've done those real jobs like loading cement bags on railroad cars.
Anything where you have to lift something either close to or above your own weight is a bad job.
Right.
Or a hard job.
I have plenty of those.
I had one or two, but I wasn't cut out for it. Too sensitive.
You're just a delicate flower, aren't you?
Here's the thing, John. I know this sounds me in a bad light, but I'm hosting the BAFTAs this weekend, and I'm hoping Up does well. Already I'm not looking forward to it because I have to stand up for 2 hours. So already I'm thinking, that's quite hard.
I talked to the union on that.
That's a hard job.
Oh, that's horrible.
Do you not think they should give me a stool?
I think they should give you one of those Barca Lounger chairs where the feet come up.
Yeah. Just lie back and do it.
Oh, that would be nice. Or possibly I could be carried out by a stronger man.
3, 4 of them.
If I could be cradled in Daniel Craig's arm for much of the show, I think that would be nice for the viewer and for me.
Well, that should be a Christmas.
If he's wearing his swim shorts as well.
Or make that a birthday wish.
It's got to happen. But cheers. Do you miss that part of your life? Because that must have been lovely to be part of that team, that group of people.
You know what the best part about it was when we were filming the show, we'd go on maybe an hour or two longer than necessary because we had to stop the cameras because we were laughing so hard.
Well, that came across, I think. You got the sense that these were a bunch of people who genuinely liked each other, who liked
our job was to sit at a bar and crack jokes. Yeah. What's not to like? It wasn't an emergency room in a hospital or a high school classroom.
Yeah, the pressure wasn't great.
No, not at all. None. And the writing also. It's very much like Pixar because the writing was so good. It was the generation of writers who had grown up reading books. And so they understood character, storyline, the arc of a story. They got it. And you never saw the joke coming in Cheers.
Yeah.
You could watch
it was very smart.
Watch it 100 times. You just don't know when that joke's coming.
Remarkable as well that the spin-off series from that, Fraser, of course, which came on afterwards, and he'd been...
They did a show, Frasier?
Yes, they did a little
heck,
show. Yeah.
Now they're telling...
They never called you for that one. Who was the... No, I'm trying to remember. Was it Bibi Ullman or so? Who was the woman who played Fraser's partner in Cheers?
Bibi Newirth.
She's a great performer. I've seen her on Broadway.
Oh, Broadway, absolutely.
She's an all-rounder, isn't she?
Yeah, sure.
Wow, what a great cast of people to have. And Woody Harrelson, who joined you near the end of the one.
Yeah, he's up for an Academy Award, isn't he?
Which one's he up for?
I don't. I think is it? Geez, I don't know. I just thought I saw it in the paper the other day.
He's not Zombieland, even though I like that.
I don't know. I thought he was. I thought I saw him on TV the other night talking about.
You're looking at me. I'm not sure.
He may well be. I'm just trying to remember what films he's been in this year. You know what? I'd give him one every year just for his love of hemp. Wouldn't you? If there's one man out there who's done more for the hemp industry than Woody Harrelson, then I've not met him.
Jonathan Ross, online, on digital, and on 88 to 91 FM. BBC Radio 2.
The Detroit Spinners.
It is a Detroit
Or the Spinners, as they're known in America.
Spinners, yeah.
But we call them the Detroit Spinners because we had our own Spinners.
We had our own Spinners, and they look very different.
Yeah.
They wore Fair Isle jumpers.
Oh, they're very nice. Well,
Old white men with beards in jumpers. A totally different kind of vibe. But they were great dancers.
Yeah.
Well, that's I was on Dancing with the Stars, so I recognize.
Of course, you were in America.
yeah.
We have our own dancing show over here. How did you do in that, John? I don't know.
I think I lasted about 9 weeks.
Well, that's not bad.
good.
Oh, I was knocking off all the younger guys. Yeah.
Did you dance before you got on the show, or was it a real strict? So you had already done.
I love dancing. Yeah, since I was a kid. I went to a high school, inner city high school, and that's all people were doing is dancing.
And so you still occasionally bust out a move.
Yeah.
Do you do the modern dancing?
Which is what?
Well, like the
Contemporary,
locking, popping, polka dotting?
No, it's not dancing. No.
What?
What's that thing you keep talking about? Crumping or something?
Crumping.
Well, could you show me?
I could.
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready for this?
He will do.
I would, but you know what?
Wait till BAFTA.
We've been talking about
the BAFTA stage.
come out crumping.
Come on, crumping.
You know, standing up for me is I charge extra, so I think I'll stay sitting down.
Len's on the dancing American one, isn't he, as well?
Who is what?
Yeah.
Len.
He's one of the judges.
He is,
All right, let's go. All right.
Well,
Okay, calm down.
I'm excited he's on.
Just calm down.
Yeah, he was one of the judges.
Yeah.
John Ratzenberger is in town because Up is out on DVD, and that's an exciting thing because it really is. It's a classic. It is a masterpiece. It really is. And
could you imagine pitching that story to any other film studio in the world? Say, I got a story of an 82-year-old man who floats away in a house with a Cub Scout. Yeah. The Boy Scout.
It's not. Well, you don't need to describe it like that.
No, the way
do
you worded
that's got a different sort of promise.
It's a true, but you'd get thrown out of the office.
Yeah, you wouldn't get. Just saying we're going to do a cartoon and the lead character is an 80-year-old widowed man.
Right.
That wouldn't happen normally, would it? But,
no, they'd throw you out on the street.
But similarly, Wall-E or Wall-E, I'm not quite happy.
So, here's a robot. There's no dialogue in the entire movie, and it's on a deserted planet.
The first 20 minutes is cleaning up rubbish. That's
right.
it. That's not an immediate sell, is it?
No, or the Ratatouille. There's a rat that wants to be a gourmet chef in a Parisian restaurant.
Oh, that's a great. I forgot about Ratatouille. Yeah. Of course, that's a fantastic movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which part were you in that?
Mustafa.
The bad guy.
Soup. No, that was the waiter, the head waiter.
But here's the thing: because you can act, I didn't immediately think that was you. I thought it was just going to be the same voice.
That's why they pay me the big bucks.
You can do the accents as well.
Oh, sure.
Wasn't Shane Ritchie in Ratatouille? He wasn't
he was in Flushed Away.
Oh, Flushed Away.
Shane Ritchie in Ratatouille. Do you want to upset our guests?
I'm sorry about that.
There was a movie called Flushed Away?
Yeah.
Who did that?
It was over here. It was the people who do Wallace and
Gromit. It's Aardman, yeah.
Oh, really?
It wasn't...
just the title.
It wasn't one they remember. It involved a rat going down the toilet. Look, okay, we don't get it right, necessarily. John, don't pick at the wool.
I'll spend an extra few days here and I'll show you.
Don't blame me. I had nothing to do with it. we're going to do a new feature on the show now. It's called Round the World with Ratzenberger.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to throw some accents at John, see how well he does. You ready for this,
yeah,
John?
sure.
Okay, yeah,
Sure.
Right, go on then.
French.
She likes the soup.
Very good, very good, very good. It's like we're there.
Yeah.
You know? Okay. German.
What is this? You will like the soup.
Very good.
You will eat it.
No, that's enough. You don't have to do too much. That's
I was
enough.
going to do
Come on.
Shakespeare in German.
Were you really?
Kann ich einmal einem Zigaretten bitten?
That's Japanese, isn't it? Watashi wa. Okay, let's do... where should we... Italian.
Mi chiamo Giovanni. Tu parlo inglese? Non parlo
It still
italiano.
sounds
va
like an
bene.
American speaking Italian, if you don't mind me saying. The other ones were...
I fooled them over there.
You didn't do the full "Mi dispiace, non parlo italiano."
Because it's on
Italian
radio,
talks like
nobody
that.
saw my hands move.
Yeah. It's
Hey,
interesting.
c'è una macchina.
Because if you study Mandarin and Cantonese, it's a tonal language. If you study Italian, it's a hand-based language.
absolutely.
Isn't it? It's like semaphore.
Exactly.
Oh, what is going on? Are we in trouble now, do you think? I don't know whether
No, you
we...
are. I'm not.
You're an American. You don't care anyway.
Yeah, that's true. It's we got a lot of Italians.
Should we do one more?
Yeah, where are you going to go, though?
Scottish.
Okay, let's go Scotland.
No,
Hold it, it's not a promising start, John.
no, it's Glaswegian.
he's
I'm
gotta
getting
find it.
specific here.
Hold it, well, no,
Put my boot in your hair.
let's take a breath and do it again.
I put my boot in your hair.
That's
I
good.
put my boot in your hair. That's
In your
very
ear.
good.
I put my boot in your hair.
But you need more than that to get by.
Well, that was how I was. It was welcome to Glasgow. I went to Glasgow. My first time in Glasgow, I was getting out of a cab. The guy comes, an old fella. The guy had to be 70 years old. He said, "Aye," he says, "You U.S. Marines. I put my boot in your hair." I said, "Thank you, sir." I was like,
Yeah.
"Welcome to Glasgow."
That's the welcome. That's all you need. City of Culture, 1994. John, lovely to have you here. Continued success at your work with not just Pixar, but all the other people you work for. And yeah, I know we've said it already, but Up is out on DVD, and I cannot recommend it highly enough. John, lovely to see you.
Thank you.
Radio 2.
Mr. Sean Lock has joined us, ladies and gentlemen. Couldn't be happy. Let's face it, he's one of the best comedians on British television. No two ways about it.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well, it's true. I love seeing you on 8 out of 10 Cats. I love seeing you on the various other programmes you crop up on a semi-regular basis. I was quoting you this week without realising it. Can I share this with you? Yeah. I was at the Hamleys' 250th anniversary birthday party, of course. And there was a man there, young fella, handling meerkats. And I went, here's the thing about meerkats. I said, you'd think someone would tell them to... He went, I saw that on TV as well. I said, yeah, they should stop panicking if they're in the zoo. They don't have to keep looking around there. And he went, yeah, I heard that on TV as well. I was trying to claim it as my own.
Right.
So then I went, yeah, no, I was quoting, and I couldn't bloody remember who'd said it. It was you, of course.
Yeah, oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah, but he couldn't remember who'd said it either. So we were both kind of knew someone had said this funny thing about meerkats, but couldn't quite put our finger on it.
No, it was me.
Did this happen to you on a regular basis, Sean?
Well, people aren't as honest as you, Jonathan. I did. I went to the zoo and I did think, God, they should just relax. There's really nothing to worry about.
Well,
they are so
I've
alert.
just done that joke. You don't
They're
have to
perfect. Yeah, but I actually finished it off.
Yeah.
And
You just assumed that everybody...
Trying...
Yeah, and I could finish it off.
Oh, so you show me how to do it.
But no, most people aren't as honest. But,
Do you encounter that a lot? Is there a lot of... it's not so much joke stealing goes on anymore, does it?
no, I don't think my material is that easy to steal.
No, because it's normally part of a considered ramble or rant. How would you describe it?
Well, no, very, very carefully honed ramble. It gives the appearance of rambling whilst being almost like etched like hieroglyphics.
Look,
into my
I've
mind.
seen you work.
Yeah, there's a mixture. Some of it's structured, some of it's luck.
Well, it's I very much enjoy it when I hear you
thank
talking
you.
about things, and also there seems to be a certain worldview behind your pieces, which is quite consistent. Not so much grumpy as a man, a certain kind of weariness with the modern world. Would this be correct? Would this be fair, Sean?
I like to mix it up a bit, but there is a degree of that. I do address it in my new show. I discuss why my face is like it is.
Well, you appear to have been born in the 1920s.
Yeah, no, you've said... Well, it changes every decade every time I come on your show. Last time I was the 50s man.
Sean, are your parents still with us, by the way?
My father is, yeah.
Could I meet him, and could I possibly see photographs of him as a child and you? Because I think there'll only be photographs of you at trade union demonstrations in the 1930s and 40s.
Oh, it's the 30s and 40s.
I suspect that you're preserved somehow, because you've got a face that is of a different time, Sean.
Really?
Don't you think?
I don't know. It's very hard to sort of put yourself into a decade without the costume.
Well, you've managed it.
I look like my dad. Do the same thing with my teeth as my dad.
And does he
does
wear
that.
glasses as well?
He wears glasses, yeah, he's tall.
Well, now, how old are you now, Sean?
46.
So now you get to that age where you don't anymore feel like, there's a difference between you and your father that was. It's like when you're 10 and he's like 30 or 40, of course, it's all the difference. When you're 46, really... doesn't matter if someone's 70. You're kind of on the same level, aren't you, really?
Yeah, you're looking through the same lens, aren't you?
Does he enjoy seeing it? He must be proud of you.
Yes, I think he is.
He saw you on the same bill as George Formby, didn't he? I seem to remember when you first started.
I was doing the sand dance. I've always thought that the great thing about that sand dance is people were very easily satisfied in the 30s, weren't they? Bombs
Well,
were
you
dropping.
say that, but I bet it's harder to do. I bet if they went on Britain's Got Talent now, they'd get through to the finals.
Yeah,
I mean, what were they but the diversity of their day?
Depends how sad their background was.
Oh, yeah, they need a backstory. Wilson, Betty and Keppel or something they were called, weren't they?
Yeah.
So, are you still doing 8 out of 10 catches? Is that series finished now, or are you still recording
That one's
this film
finished.
series?
That one's finished because we do specials now.
Yeah. Oh, what do you do? So
We do 2 records in one night. I think. I mean, I might be cynical. I think they're trying to save money, but I don't know.
Why would? Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But it makes it hard on you, I guess.
You get 5.5 hours with looking at Jimmy.
Yeah. Oh, that's tough.
It's like a magic eye
and
portrait.
listening
You really
to that-
start to see what's going on there.
Listening to that new laugh he's created.
Yes, yeah. Oh, so it's like asthmatic skydiver. Yeah, it is. It's true.
He sounds like an emasculated Santa. But you know what? I think I've been on 8 out of 10 cats once, and I wasn't particularly good in it, and I'll be the first to admit that. But what I was struck by was just how long.
Sorry, I meant to stop you there.
No, you don't have to.
No.
We know it's true. How long you record for? It went on for about 2.5 hours. And,
Yeah, I know.
most shows
Because
go on
Jimmy can't
longer.
read.
But no, it wasn't that. It was that they were really. Some of the rounds just went on and on and on. I felt like that scene in Lawrence of Arabia when he goes across the desert the first time.
And there was
When's it going to end?
There's no need for it, but what they do is they try to ring. They paid for you. And they just think we're going to wring every drop out of these people. We're going to
Use it for the
squeeze
DVD.
everything out, and they were just doing more and more, basically till we collapse. And when you compare it to a normal day's work, you can't really, put your hand up and go, this is outrageous. I can't get a union together.
I'd like to
of
see
me
you
and
try.
sort of
If
panel
anyone's-
show team captains.
But if anyone's going to do it, because you've got the face for the union photograph, as we've established, that would be great, wouldn't it? I would trust you as a union leader.
My granddad apparently was a communist.
Oh, well, that would be.
He went on a march demanding that Joe Stalin be made King of England. He was a black cab driver. He was a London. I think part of my weariness and attitude comes from the fact my granddad was a London black cab driver.
a communist cabbie.
Yeah. Well, he said the reason he was a communist was his claim to fame was he drove a cab during the Blitz. And I remember years later thinking, long after he was dead, thinking, who drove around with a light on during the Blitz? But he used
That'd be
to
okay,
pick
though, because they
people-
can't get a lock on to drop the bombs, can they? He was probably doing us a favour.
But the only people who could get cabs during that time were very, very wealthy. So he'd be constantly driving from like Claridge's to the Ritz and backwards and forwards, and it's in the freezing because those old taxis that sit outside were freezing cold.
Yeah.
That's where he built up his hardline.
His
left-wing
huge
politics.
resentment for the
Yeah.
haves versus the have-nots. But, those old school communists, they're fascinating because the people who were communists in that period genuinely seemed to think that Stalin was a good thing.
Yeah,
they would hear no ill spoke of Uncle Joe, would they?
No, and he'd have big arguments with his had 4 sons. And they were all. None of them wanted the country to be run by the communists.
Well, we know
they were all quite conservative.
We know it doesn't work. I mean, that's the essential thing, really. That's the big problem there.
Yeah.
And of course, the model, as was in the Soviet Union, wasn't a particularly pleasant one.
I think if my granddad had been in charge, it might have worked.
Yeah, he'd have been fine.
He'd have said that.
Yeah. Now, Sean, you're back on tour.
Yes.
Lockopedia is the name of the tour. This is obviously a clever play on words, similar to Wikipedia, which is
Very clever, isn't it?
It's very, very
It's
clever.
fiendish.
It's not a great pun, it has to be said. But presumably,
Catchy, though.
Is there a thematic link between what you're doing on stage and the Wikipedia
There
experience
is
online?
but very, very. It's just a small section of the show because I fundamentally don't have any other talent other than telling jokes, and you want to have some other element in the show. I can't sing, I can't play any instruments, I can't do any impressions. I thought I'd have something going on in the show, so I've got all these sort of disparate comic ideas, and I've got this book. I've kept them in, and the time to set them up as jokes just takes so long. So what I do is I do audience battleships. So I just say E14. Who's ever in E14 has to give me their name, a letter, say D, and then a word. And it can be anything, dogs, doors.
Wombats.
Yeah. No,
Oh, it has to be with D?
D, yeah.
See, this is why I've been no good.
Yeah.
No. I'm confused already. OK, let's do this then. With me and Andy, we're in 2 chairs. One
Yeah,
and two.
I might fail, and then people won't come and see
Well,
the
no,
show.
this is a good test for you. This is going to encourage people to go and see the show.
I haven't got the book.
What book? Can't you do it off the top of your head?
I haven't got the book.
Oh, you see,
I don't want to do
we
it.
pulled the veils from old lady showbiz's eyes
But
here.
what happens is then I do some while I'm trying to think of something.
Yes.
Because it's impossible to do it.
Yes.
It really, because I have to have a joke on every subject. But occasionally, what it does is it involves people in the show that would never, because it's random. It involves people who would never normally get involved in a show.
So not the people who
loud
come
ones.
prepared, who are either drunk or have a heckle prepared. These are
Yes,
people who
yeah.
would normally step out into
And
the
it draws
limelight.
them into the show. I mean, I'll try it, but there's
Well, I don't-
9 times out of 10. No, not 9 times. Three times out of 10. I fail. It gets better as the night goes on.
Yeah, of course.
I've got lots of little tricks to get out of it.
Well, shall we try
But
one?
One guy chatted up penultimate at me. I mean,
Oh, that's a toughie.
that's a toughie.
That's very difficult.
And I managed to get out of it. I don't know how. I got some. If I even get some kind of laugh out of
Yeah,
it. If I, basically, I'd fall over or
But didn't
expose myself
Bob
in some
Monkhouse
way.
used to
I'll
do
get-
something a little similar.
Did he?
Yeah,
I've actually
no,
had it
not the
organised
same.
there.
I mean, but you can always lead back to Bob in a way. But he used to do this thing where he would have someone say something and something else, and he would try and construct a comedy journey from point A to point B. But what he would actually do when you studied it in the CL of D, as they say,
Yeah.
the cold light of D, would be that he. It's a showbiz stuff.
I've never heard that.
No, nor have I. Made it up. When you looked at it in the CLFD, he would basically, it wouldn't be anything to do with either of those two subjects. It would be 4 old jokes he had ready, and he would say, he said donkey. Donkey's like, hey, you find in barns, barns you find near farms, farms you find in England. England's a funny country. It's got nothing to do with the donkey. But that's how he would get into it.
It was almost like they got a quiver of crowbars and they're just taking one out, moving there, get a bit of space there, and I'm in.
The quiver of crowbars talk. Can I
Yes.
suggest you use that as your next title?
Yeah. That's a bit of an in joke, but it does work. It does work, but it works. The audience have to understand that I can't really do it.
They have to understand that you're a human being.
Yes, I'm not. I said I'm not a genius. I'd have to have a joke. I'd have to have a joke on every single word in the English language.
He's not a joke robot. That's Jimmy Carr.
You're listening to the Jonathan Ross Podcast from BBC Radio 2.
Mr. Sean Lock is with us. He's on tour at the moment. The tour is called Lockopedia. As we've established, it seems to have about a 70% hit rate when he's out there. That's why about 3 out of 10.
No, the stand-up bits. What I've done, I've got a structured stand-up show,
A
normal
proper
stand-up
show.
and at the end of each half, I
Yeah.
play Lockopedia, just live and just churns the room up.
Well, it's a nice thing. Yeah, it keeps people on their toes.
Yes, yeah.
Keeps them from dozing off. Lockopedia is the name of the tour. It's all over the UK. You can go and see him all over. I'm just picking some dates out random. I know he's at Birmingham at the Hippodrome. Is that a nice theatre, the Hippodrome?
It's a lovely theatre, yeah.
You're at Bath, St Albans for a couple of days. Liverpool, Hayes, all over the place. London
Yeah.
dates, I guess you're doing. I don't have those here.
I'm doing those in the autumn.
Okay. Oh, so this is the first leg of the tour.
Yes, yeah.
And then you
We
come,
go
have a break, summer break.
Summer off.
Nice.
Well, I'll probably be working, but...
Like a
not
teacher,
doing-
really, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're off marking, and then you come back in afterwards. And also, Sean will be performing at the big benefit here in London at the O2 Centre for Great Ormond Street Hospital. I'm just looking for the date for that. That's March the 30th. Is that right?
Yeah,
the
you're
O2
doing
Centre.
that?
I'm on it as well. I've got no idea what I'm doing. That's going to be a big crowd. I'm just going to go out and wing it. Is that a good idea?
It's always worked in the past. I've never seen it fail.
I know. I'm going to ask Sean to write me some jokes for it. Will you write me some jokes, Sean, for it? Can I have some of your old jokes?
No.
Ones you don't need anymore.
Do the stand-ups. Just some old ones.
Some old ones.
Yes,
Because
yes.
some of your stuff I know I like.
Yeah, you can have some.
do the
I'm not-
Meerkats, couldn't
I
you?
do the thing about the disabled toilets and the stags on the door and the other one. That's a good joke. I'll do
The thing
that.
is, what you'll keep doing is you keep doing the punchline first.
Yeah, damn it! That's why my tours have never sold. The Bring Your Own Setup tour, I did. I'll just deliver some punchlines. Do you enjoy doing TV, or do you prefer being live and having the stage yourself and having time to develop a relationship with the audience, with your own sort of like worldview?
Well, it's like both.
So they're very different.
Yeah, they're very different things, aren't they? Because you do a TV show, as you know, and you've got a certain amount of responsibility, but it's not all on you.
Yeah.
And also, you've got the luxury of editing. So
Yes,
you can talk
indeed,
absolute.
indeed. But having said
I think
that-
Tommy rot is an acceptable word these days.
Tommy Watt is one of the last few acceptable words. But having said that, in a live show where you can make mistakes without people necessarily pouncing on you,
Yeah.
you can also then get yourself into and then out of trouble and enjoy that experience, which you can't really do on TV.
Yeah, I mean, I've really enjoyed. I did a warm-up tour of sort of art centres and theatres around the country. You know, small ones to sort of get the show into shape. I really enjoyed that and connecting with audiences. And it's exciting. Some nights that's why I like those Lockopedia thing. You get something out of the audience you don't normally get. And I'm not just going to go on about it, but the randomness. People who get involved. Like there was this woman last night who wanted B, and she said badger, and I said, "Oh, right, badger, great. That's great. Let's be easy, that badger." And then I go to my book and I go, "Well, you could have had bunting." And then while I'm trying to think up something on badger, anyway, it turned out her name was Mrs. Badger.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
That's a gift from above.
Yes, yes. So
That's a routine that very nearly writes itself, I imagine.
Yes,
If you
yeah.
want to see how that kind of thing plays out, or if indeed you want to enjoy the experience of playing Lockopedia yourself, make sure you go and see Sean Lock live, because we're out of time, Sean, I'm afraid.
Sorry.
So we've got to move on. As I said, he's all over the UK from late February right through until May. Before you check the back. It's a long old jaunt, though.
yeah, we'll have a couple of days off.
Couple of days off in between. Sean, lovely to see you again.
Pleasure, thank you.
Jonathan Jonathan Ross. Online, on digital, and on 88 to 91 FM. BBC Radio 2.